I'm Chad Eckert, and that's Joe Idone. This is the Preferred Lines podcast. We win, we place bets, and they cash, and we bring on people who do the same. What up, John? It's PGA Tout. Cheers to you.
What's up, fellas?
Cheers to you,
thanks for having me
man.
on. It's an honor. It is an honor to be here. I love the show, the sport, and I've been watching for a very long time. And
Wow.
I never felt like I deserved to be on until maybe this moment.
Stop. You've been great. Those who don't know John at PGA Tout just puts out ridiculously fun articles to read every week. I find them some of the most enjoyable. They're easy on the eyes. They're fun. They're informative. They are quality stuff, man. We're happy to have you on. Congrats on your victory lap of Kisner Week. Happy I was there with you. So what's up, man? What's new?
What's new? Well, I'll never be able to follow up what happened last week. I don't really give out conviction plays. I usually just evaluate a week and give like a very long list of people that might work out and try to be as vague as possible to let people make their own decisions. And last week was definitely a departure from that. I was in the Bahamas. I was lounging all day, Sunday, Monday, and I had an epiphany. I had a moment of clarity, and I just said, it's Kevin Kisner week. Everything lines up. The stars are aligning. The course history, the easy course history, the short course history, the top course history, the Donald Ross history. It was all there, and I was watching him implode on Sunday at the WGC, and every stroke he lost and hit into the water was just another point that I knew we were going to get on the board the next week. And I was like, just keep dunking these. How much further down can it go? It got to 55. I saw some 60s out there. Everything just lined up, and it has to line up that way for me to have that sort of conviction. And obviously, we had some divine intervention involved when Adam Scott pushed that 4-footer. But as we know, it's meant to be. Things that were meant to be are meant to be, and the right man won.
Exactly. Dude, that was so fun to watch, actually. And thank you for pushing me to place a top 5 bet because it covered all my money for the week. So I did ended up, I had that at least because of you. Thank you.
I tried to get the house, but we'll settle for a top 5.
You know what? Who am I to question the experts and question Joe at the Wyndham? What am I doing here? What the hell? But at the same time, John, you were, we did this interview series for the Fantasy Golf Pod. That was a while ago. We've done some interviews on the Preferred Lines. We're not going to get into an in-depth interview with you, but let's just hear why golf? Why and where did it start for you? And then where can we find this article and this content that you do?
Yeah, sure. So why golf? So I started a Twitter account called XFL Tout in February 2020. Cool. I was originally an XFL thought leader for a week. I wasn't really, that's not true. But I tried to do it because I moved to Jersey City and I was living alone for we were in between leases with my girlfriend and I, and I was just living alone for the first time ever. And it's legal to bet on sports in Jersey. So I was like, let me bet on a sport that nobody else is betting and try to get an edge that way because I have a lot of time to myself. And this is pre-COVID. So I was like, yeah, if I just research XFL, nobody else is going to do that and I'll find an edge. And I have to say, I was profitable for 3 weeks and then they shut down the season. And I had 300 followers and I was like, I got something. I got a foundation here. I can't just let this go.
Okay.
And golf was the first sport to come back post-COVID. We did nothing for 3 months.
Gotcha.
And I love golf. I played in high school. I went to Syracuse for college, which has 1 month of golfable weather. So that is where my career ended. Not that it was going anywhere anyway. I've always loved watching golf and playing and talking about it. So I figured I'd give it a shot. And, I subbed to Fantasy National in January. January 1st, I was like, this is Fantasy National year. And the next day created the site, the pgatout.com. And I just figured, you know what, if I'm going to pay for Fantasy National, the best way to justify that is to create something out of it.
Okay.
Because I thought I had like a pretty decent track record of just feeling it. And, you know, I'm sure a ton of people in this chat do that too, or they don't have Fantasy National. They just watch the golf and, you know, follow a bunch of people that they respect their opinions and kind of just build a card that way. That's what I was doing. And then I was like not keeping track if I was profitable or not, but I thought I was doing okay. And I was like, if I do Fantasy National, like, is it going to be a return on my investment? I'm not like building like hundreds of lineups. I'm just sort of, you know, I like to hand build them. So I'm not paying for like a lineup generator.
Sure.
So I thought like the best return on investment would be to sort of give back, get some sort of leans, create content out of it, and then use that for other people to make decisions off of. So that was kind of the basis of the website, and really blown away by the support it's gotten 8 months later. It's crazy that's already been 8 months. But yeah, it's really grown, and the community's awesome, and it's really cool to be a part of it. And you know, you guys are a big part of that as well. You were like my first follow, so it's cool to be.
Well, the Twitter handle. Again. I mean, the Twitter handle PGA Tout. You're just, you know, that brings us right in. We're like, huh, who is that? We need to know.
Yeah, it's not good for SEO because everybody gets redirected to pgatour.com.
Oh, true.
And I gotta say, like, originally, like, everybody was coming at me because I had the word tout in my name, and they were like,
for sure,
like, you suck and your picks are wrong, and it's a dirty word. Yeah, I was like, damn, okay, I gotta win people back.
That's ballsy to just be, you know, right out in center and front and center. I'm PGA Tout. Come get me. Well, there was PGA Touts exposed on Twitter at one point. There was somebody running that account. Either way, let's ask you, this Kisner hit, was this one of the biggest hits you've ever had? I mean, was this just the best weekend of your life? What are you going to spend this money on? Go back to the Bahamas? You're going to live there?
Man, I could buy a round trip. That's true. My biggest hit of my life is still Gary Woodland at the U.S. Open, because that was like 110-1, I think.
Huh.
Yeah.
In hindsight, you can always say this in hindsight, I should have put more on it, but I put more than I normally would. I got more back than I normally would at the Wyndham Championship. So I feel good about that. And it was a good DFS week too. So all in, probably my most profitable week of the year. Yeah.
Okay.
What am I gonna get with it? I don't know. That's a good question. When Xander won the Olympics, I bought the shirt that he was wearing on that Sunday to commemorate it. So I guess that's something.
Well, we should ask the guest, Joe, if he's on the Jock Market. Did you dominate over there this weekend as well? That app called the Jock Market, MKT?
You know what? I was in the Bahamas, so I missed the IPO. But I usually am. I love Jock Market. Who could not? How could you not love Jock Market? They're the best.
It's awesome.
Honestly, for me, sometimes I'll look at DFS and I'll be like, I can't really squeeze these guys in. I want exposure to them. I'm going to Jock Market. So I think it's a really good complementary app to what a lot of people already use.
Yeah, it's great. Dave's a great guy. Everyone's great over there at the Jock Market. It's fun, and it is something that is also great for the NFL. If you haven't signed up yet for the NFL or for anything, you can use our code PL. And it'll match you back $50. Do that now. Go do that, or wait till Wednesday and do that while you watch Joe and Rick. They'll break down the board for the Jock Market every Wednesday evening about 8 o'clock Eastern time. Is that when you start?
8:15. Yeah, 8:15 to 9:15. So the IPO closes at 9. So we kind of roll right up that final 45 minutes there, and then we talk about the prices everyone had. Well, who I missed, who I didn't get, who I ended up with last week. Not bad, though. Had a lot of Kisner shares, had a lot of Roger Sloan, so kind of carried me. I think I was 4th on the leaderboard last week. Ooh. So fun week there. Really, like, good DFS week for me. So I could have, like,
the withdraw.
So I cashed good money last week, even with a 5 out of 6 lineup. So it could have been, honestly, it could have been special again. I wouldn't have won what I did last year, but I had Webb, I had Henley, I had Kisner, I had Streelman, like all of these guys in there, and then Norlander. So got screwed there. My own fault having a 5 out of 6. But what could have been, man? What could have been?
All right, you guys follow us on Twitter. We're at Preferred Lines. That's what you're probably watching this on. But if you don't want to watch it live, or you want to go time and a half, or however you want to watch it, do it on iTunes. We're on there too. You can like and comment and subscribe. Have we done all the due diligences?
Yeah, a lot of time and a half people. I've realized I'm not a time and a half guy. It's you can't get the vibe right with time and a half. Do you guys listen to your podcast on time and a half?
Yeah, dude. What times one is
you
like
always do that, don't you?
Yeah.
It gives me a lot of anxiety to listen on time and a half because it feels like everyone's just trying to rush through the points. But I have I do really, there's so much good shows out there, and it's so hard to listen to all of them. I have started to try the time and a half. I do actually kind of like it.
You know what I've noticed actually is people are slowing their tone down and their podcast at normal speed because they know everybody watches it fastly. And that sounds normal. But anyway, I talk too fast. You can't even watch this in time and a half when it's the fantasy golf pod or the preferred lines because I just talk so fast because I'm just so energetic. I'm so excited. I'm just so excited about the board. Let's get to the board. Let's get to the tippity tip top of the betting board this week. And you have John Rodriguez. He's at 10-1. Did we go to the top of the board, boys, or did we skip down? Are we doing this John Rahm thing?
First off, new board this week, Chad?
Oh, sorry. Yes. First of all, this board is not it's
Are we sponsored?
No, not yet. I just like people. BetOnline.ag, you can sign up, but do not use this 300%. See this scam right here? Don't do that. That will fuck you over. What you want to do is you want to not use any bonuses. You don't want to use any free plays. You just want to use the $50 that you put in there, and that's what you use only, or else you'll have a rollover and they'll ruin you. I don't know if BetOnline is as bad as the other books, so that's why we like BetOnline, because I was able to withdraw money from them as easy as 1, 2, 3. Snap of a finger, got it. My money in my pocket after I won. Other books, not so certain you're going to get away with that. Now, this one has the Euro event that I'm not interested in. They've got other stuff on here. This has got all the sports and you want. It's got a casino. Oh, my gosh. It's illegal where I live. But at the same time, it shows the Northern Trust. This betting board has John Rahm as the number one guy. He's at 10-1. And then under 20-1, you also have Jordan Spieth at 16. You have Colin Morikawa and Dustin Johnson at 18-1. This is a stacked field. We know the statistic that this is as good as any major, if not the players. It is the strength of field of those events. We're here. The playoffs, guys. The playoffs. So who we taking at the top of the board? Anybody?
Lead us off, John.
Oh man! So the thing that made me so confident last week was the top of the board was not very imposing, and it felt like you could really freely go after anybody you wanted because it was very clear for Webb or Hideki to not win. This week, it's really hard to stare at John Rahm at the top and say that the bombs that I'm considering at 90-1 have a better chance than John Rahm. I'm not going to bet him. I don't bet guys who are 10-1. I don't see a lot of guys reaching for him here, but it is a really good setup for him. And we're going to need a little bit of luck on our side for John Rahm to not be at the top of the leaderboard on Sunday. But I'm not going to start my card there. The next two guys really have my attention, and I may end up betting both of them.
Really?
Which is also atypical for me because I usually try to start above 20-1, but this is a course where I don't think you have to be great off the tee. There's fairway bunkers, there's fescue, and there's water, but the fairways are pretty big, and the first cut of rough, at least historically, hasn't been super penal. So I don't and it's a lot of forced layups, so you're not really going to bomb and gouge this if you don't have a lot of distance. I don't think that's a huge disadvantage. Reed and Answer were 1-2 here last year. They're not really long players. So you really just need a good all-around game. And, you don't have to be the best off the tee player to gain strokes off the tee, if that makes sense here, because you probably are going to hit more fairways and you're not going to be disadvantaged for distance. So with off the tee not mattering as much, that gets me really excited about a guy like Spieth. I know he's turning around the off the tee game, but he's so good with his approach and his around the green game and the putting. All of the Spieth courses that we know are bent grass courses with Augusta and Colonial specifically. And I'm reading a lot of comps to Royal St. George's, where that obviously finished Morikawa Spieth 1-2. So I think there's a very repeatable formula for what guys did well, what they did well at the Open about a month ago. I think if you bring that sort of game here, you'll have continued success. And when you add in bent grass greens, that gets me really excited about a guy like Spieth.
Okay, makes sense. I did not go to the top of the board. Joe, are you interested in anyone in the 20s or anyone above the 20s? Are we doing this here?
It's crazy the amount. So a couple things. First off, all the guys in the chat, what's up? Good friends. What's going on?
Oh yeah, sorry.
Second off, John Rahm just like ruins like golf betting tournaments for me a lot of times. Like when I see his name there, I'm like, fuck, this guy's gonna win. It's at that point it feels like where he just sucks the value out of all the guys that I like to bet. Moving on, I do like the Open Championship as a quality comp. I think that it does play very linksy. I don't think you have to be – it's long, but I don't think you have to be overly long. Like looking back, and I hit read here in what was that, 2019? Yes, 2019 when he won. He's on the banner. Check the banner. He's one of the first guys on the
banner. Is so damn crowded. You can barely figure out who's on
it
there.
Was like, okay, so I looked at some of the other names, and going into that final round, he was either leading or in the final group was Harold Varner. Snedeker was up there. Abe Answer finished second, I think. These are not guys that are like long off the tee. Like they all are very much play it back in front of the bunkers, long iron, and great bent grass putters. When you look at that sort of Royal St. George's comp, it's amazing how many of these guys up here were all at the top of that leaderboard. Like Morikawa first, Spieth second, Brooks was there, sort of. Rory was there, DJ was there. Like they were all so crowded. They all played really well there. For me, like it's still kind of early. I've been kind of soaking up the Kisner week. Had a big day of work today, so I haven't dove too much into it. But you know, it's no surprise. Eileen Brooks, I was off of him. I've got a good barometer on this guy. You know this, Chad. Like I was fully off of him in Memphis when I was on him the year before. I said not the time for Brooks. I feel like it may be coming around. I think he's sort of gearing up for this FedEx Cup playoff run because he went 0 this year, and he's been 0 in big time events for a little while now. So, strong finishes before that, plays well in sort of the New York, Northeast area. Shinnecock, I think, is a decent comp. I'm leaning there, but haven't pulled the trigger yet. What about you, Mr. Eckert?
Well, don't we know about Brooks that he needs like a week to get going, and then we bet him not this week?
I think he got that a little bit at Memphis, and here's why. Like I think that was his like time off, and
okay,
before that, and that gave him a little bit of run up. And I think he spent the last week like gearing up the game for this playoff run because this is all he's got left in the season, or else it's for Brooks Koepka. Yes, he was coming off an injury, but ultimately, if you tell him at the season you're going to have one win this year and it's going to be at the Waste Management, it's not a good season. He'll tell you that. Like I hope they ask him that in the interview, and he'll say it's not a good season for me. So he wants to get a win in these next 3 weeks badly.
Dude, and he kind of stole the win too.
Yeah,
but the range in the 20s is ridiculous. It's crazy that you can get Brooks at 22-1. You can get Rory there too. You could get JT if you wanted it somewhere there. John, are we into JT 25? Can we do it?
I think Rory and Justin are in a very similar spot right now where the short game is a little suspect. The irons we know are there, and they're recovering from some really bad off the tee game earlier in the season. They're really finding that now. Justin is a lot more of a concern to me with the putter. It's just really not showing any signs that that's going to improve.
Totally.
And Rory, maybe the around the green game is a little suspect, whereas Justin, that's one of his strengths. So that's sort of a trade-off I think you have to consider between the two at similar odds. I thought it was funny that Rory, I don't know if you guys saw this, Thursday, Friday, he lost like 2 strokes both days around the green. And then he overnighted a new set of wedges from TaylorMade, and he gained strokes over the weekend. So like, I don't think that means anything. I think that's just funny. But he's not as lost maybe as the numbers seem because he was able to turn it around. So I definitely would lean Rory. It's actually like, I've got to pick 2 between Spieth, Morikawa, and Rory, and I'm leaning towards the first 2 right now. But there's a lot to like about Rory. I think a lot of guys are talking about him. There's no doubt about the ball striking right now. It's been spectacular for months. It's just a matter of if he's going to get that putter rolling.
Yeah. Let's talk about Bryson, because if Bryson had won 2 weeks ago, whenever that was, and it came through, got the win, this 28 wouldn't be here. And now we got a 28 on him. He choked on Sunday when he normally doesn't. So can we give him a pass on that and buy this 28?
Okay. I don't think there's nearly as much wrong with Bryson as people are leading on right now. I think that there's a bit of an overreaction because he's the type of player that is not going to have Colin Morikawa where he finishes top 20 in 8-9 straight events. It's not the type of player he is. He's going to have missed cuts. He's going to have pop weeks. Like he's just not consistent enough. And I don't think he has tailored his entire game around being that golfer. He wants to have these elite pops where events set up right for the way that he is made his body, made his game. I don't know that this is a great spot for him. I don't think that the whole Brooks thing is as much in his head as some other people believe. I went back and forth with some guys on the whole bullying article, how I kind of disagreed with that sort of take on the fans. They're being hard on him. He's brought a lot of it on himself. I don't think it's affecting his golf game as much as some people may think. I think he very easily misses the water on a couple shots, judges it a little bit better, and he wins that tournament 2 weeks ago. So I think it's a very fair number on him. I'm interested, John, on what you think of the course fit, because that seems to be the biggest thing for me with Bryson does it set up for his game? And if it does, he's going to contend.
Yeah, I was right there with you in those bullying article follow-ups. So we all had a lot of opinions, and I think we listened. Kenny and Tambo had a great podcast. You mentioned that, and I went back and listened to it, and they put it into context very well. So I was a little. I would say I was probably heated at the article when you throw around the word bullying at a sporting event for a one-word jeer. I think that's a little extreme, checking your humanity, as it was said. But here's what I'll say about Bryson. I'm going to be fading him this week, and I might be targeting against him in some matchups. It's not a links course, but it has a links style to it, which is why I was sort of off of him at the Open. This is a course where you're not going to slice a drive and end up on the other fairway and hit from a crazy angle, or be under a fence but still be able to play out of it. If you miss the hole, like if you hit it off of where the hole is, you are in a hazard. You're either in fescue or you're in water or you're somewhere that's not playable. Now Bryson has gotten around that. He actually has like really good short course history where you can club down. He does that well. But this is not a course that's going to completely take the driver out of your hand. So I'm a little nervous about where that driver can spray to and some trouble that he's going to get into that way. And the other thing is a little more subjective, but he's going to hear it from the fans this week. And if we believe anything about this is getting into his head and these are like little paper cuts of Brooksy, like he will not hear more Brooksies all year than what he's going to hear from the crowd in Jersey City, right across the Hudson. I will be there. I will not be chanting Brooksy at him.
Do it.
Good.
I'm going to show some restraint, but I'm probably going to be one of very few that holds back because it's just out there. and people like getting under his skin, and he's not a guy that people are going out of their way to root for right now. So
well,
that makes me a little nervous.
Lead, I think he could play off the crowd and be in the lead or in contention and get them like on his side and kind of rally them. And I feel like maybe he could use it for his advantage as much as like it could be against him. If it gets against him early, yeah, we're leading towards a miscut. But if it can get behind him, maybe we can do it.
I think with Bryson,
you're going. Let's talk about your location. And Joe's lights are going off like it's Las Vegas. Look at the coffee.
What's a magic word? Yeah, well, with Bryson, things can always go one of two very different ways. And that's why he's always a compelling outright bet. Because
look at Joe.
It goes the good way.
If you guys are watching on YouTube, Joe's lights have like gone schizophrenic.
It's a rave.
I mean,
all right, there we go. There's the green. Sorry.
Somebody said a buzzword out there.
Live
He's activated something.
Yeah, so you're going to the tournament, John. That's cool. Or you just
okay. I'm going Thursday and Sunday. My apartment is in Jersey City. I live like 2 miles from Liberty National, and I looked outside my window today. There's signs for parking for Liberty National in my apartment building's parking lot now. So awesome. I'm very close to the action, and it's going to be very annoying to drive my car this week.
Oh, I like Norfolker. He says
shut down
to bet Bryson.
You guys also know I bet Bryson at the WGC last week, and I avoided the bet.
I saw that.
Because ESPN posted the article, and he said, temper your expectations about me. I'm sick, and I lost 10 pounds. So I avoided it and never rooted so hard against somebody to like. I felt more satisfied that he didn't win than if one of my outrights were to win. Nothing
That's
personal
classic.
to him.
Anytime a guy says that, you almost have to bet them. It seems.
Yeah,
like
that's the Jason Davis.
That at the Palmetto, it almost won. Was like, I've been terrible. I can't swing. I'm not practicing. Boom, almost wins.
Adam Scott literally last week said, I can't wait for the season to be over. I got to get back to my kids in Australia. And he has the best round of his life. So you got to look out for these negative and all in my club's not interacting with the turf at the Open. Like, it is such a green light when anybody ever says anything negative about their game the week.
Correct. All right, let's keep going around this board here. You got Abraham Answer, the winner of the WGC. Daniel Berger, 33-1 as well. Scotty Scheffler, 33-1 on Victor Hovland. And in the 30s, you have Paul Casey at 35-1. One of my favorite guys. And if you're telling me it's going to be like the Euro event, aren't these the names we like? John, let's go.
Yeah. I keep going back to Scotty Scheffler, who also had a high finish at the Open. I don't love the number, to be honest. I think Daniel Berger and Victor Hovland are much more appealing at 33-1. And yet even Harris English at 40, who's been so good lately. But I just keep going back to Scotty, and I never bet Scotty, but he's somebody who gains in all 4 categories, which I think is huge this week. I think you got to be able to be above field average and off the tee approach around the green and putting. He steps up in these big moments, whether it's the majors, the WGCs, the playoff events. He's always, in the mix when it matters the most. And Ryder Cup consideration, I think that's real. I think he's absolutely in if he wins this tournament. And I think he's absolutely on the bubble right now, and he knows it with, say, a Webb, Finau, and a Harris English. I think one of those 4, maybe 2 of those 4 are in.
So let me ask you too, do you guys take into consideration they're on the bubble for that kind of thing, or they're on the bubble for this top 70 and then they're going to somehow miraculously show up and play better? Does it matter to you?
It's hard, man. It's really hard to factor that in because I think that for me, it's going like pressure and that kind of stuff affects every player differently. So to lump everyone into the same bucket and say that he needs to finish in the top 70, 71st. This is going to help him this week, or this is going to hurt him. It really kind of depends on the individual guy. And then you start playing mental coach and psychiatrist and digging into like what their thoughts are. And anytime that I start trying to do that, I'm usually wrong. Like, so whenever I try to factor in like motivation and stuff like that, it's usually a bad take for me. Like getting back to Scheffler, I initially wanted to take him this week. I do think that he's on the outside looking in at the Ryder Cup right now. But to me, like I took Hovland instead. First of all, he was 5 more points on the board. It was 35-1 versus 30. I can't recall many tournaments this season where Scotty's been the favorite over Vic. And I feel like the recent form, which has given him that large bump, like usually Hovland's in like the 25 to 30 range and Scheffler's like 40-1, sometimes higher earlier in the season. I don't think this shift in flipping them is all that justified right now. And I know that Scotty has played well in these big events, but his 4th round scoring average ain't very good. Like he's been not, and I've had him on a couple of these, so I've noticed he's not playing well in the 4th round. And, you know, I'm looking back at his last 10 events here. He's got 1 top 5. Like Hovland's last 10 events, he's got 2 thirds and a first if you count the Euro event. So while the most recent, like the last 3 rounds, has been a little bit in favor of Scheffler, I think the odds are, I think that Vic is a little bit better player right now. I think that he's more comfortable and ready to win an event like this. So I just think the additional 5 points is a little bit of a drift in Hovland's direction. And I don't want to pay the premium on Scheffler this week for me.
Okay. I guess that's fair. I actually, you know, I'm kind of leaning an older veteran gentleman, not the young guys, this, young crew people. I like this Paul Casey play this week. I feel like a total driver is going to be important. I feel like he's kind of got that all-around game. We've reached the playoffs. He has had a really successful season. He talked about it in December going into the I guess maybe it was into the Tournament of Champions, Sony Open, wherever he started. He talked about how Paul Casey was like, hey, I feel like I'm already in month 3 and it hasn't even started. So my body's ready. I'm going to go. I'm going to take advantage of the season. So, hey, we got Paul Casey at 35-1. You guys am I crazy? Can you talk me out of it?
No, you know what? I like a lot of these guys in the 30s. Like I'm going to probably make the bulk here. You can make a case for Cantlay. I think you can make a case for Berger. I think there's actually a case to be made for Webb here. Honestly, like, 3 straight top 20s. He played well last week. Like everyone was against him, so it was a little bit skewed, but still played pretty well. Back-to-back top 20s at this event, the 2 times he's played it. Like I think that all these guys in this 35-1 range, like you could make a case for a lot of them, and I think Casey's one of those guys that I certainly have circled right now.
John, what about Patrick Reed? Are we always betting Patrick Reed? He's the winner of the Northern Trust. I think dude, this is his time of year, isn't it? We're gearing up for the Ryder Cup. He knows he needs to make it on a qualifying spot. This would be a great chance for Patrick Reed to solidify it at 40-1. Are we going the house on Patrick Reed?
Yeah, I came into this week like months ago just blindly saying I'm going to bet Patrick Reed at Liberty National because he won there. And we always get a good number on Patrick Reed, and it's going to be a loaded field, and I want that. This range is just so appealing around him that I'm getting cold feet about Reed, and I'm kind of leaning towards not betting him anymore. I was looking back at kind of the form coming in 2019 when he won, and he was driving the ball better than maybe he ever has in his career leading into that event in 2019. Okay. He won that event with the driver. He gained like 5 strokes off the tee. Okay. He hasn't come close to doing that in 2021. It's been all short game. Even when he won Torrey Pines, I think that was all short game. So, you need to be well-rounded. I'm a little concerned about the state of his driver right now. So I'm getting cold feet there, especially when you're surrounding him with guys like Hideki at 40. That's a really good number for Hideki.
All right. Why is Hideki at 40?
We already talked about English is playing the best golf of his career right now. Casey, I think.
What about Answer? Like best golf of his career, coming off a win. He had a second here last time. Like he had a top 15 at the Open. There's everybody right here.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to be said about the monkey off the back too. I think guys play a little more relaxed after they get their first. You saw Sam Burns following up his win with a second place the next week. So I think these guys play a little easier after they get that first win off their back, a little less tense. Answer could be a guy to watch out for, although I think that number's a little short for me. But it's just you almost can't go wrong in this range. It's hard to make decisions. But, maybe that makes it more of a Jock Market.
Well, that's the truth. The truth right now is that the golf is so good. We've got some of the best players in the history of the game playing all at the same time. It's amazing. You're going to get 28-1 on Bryson DeChambeau, a top 5 player in the world, someone who's historically going to be known as one of the greatest of all time. You got Rory and Justin Thomas in the 20s, the same thing. It's just insane. You've got young guys with talent coming up. You've got veterans that are hanging on like Adam Scott. We got Canadians like Corey Connors. You got top 10 Tonys at 60-1. Top 10 Tony at 60-1. Are we gonna do a top 5 or top 10 on Tony's 60-1 number? Because that's where we get the money.
Out on Finau right now.
No,
he's
not the same top 10 Tony.
For some reason, man, and like early on, we were both on him a lot, but I just see right through him on the odds boards at this point. It just he no matter what number seemingly they stick in front of him, it just doesn't seem bettable to me because I'm not really like I put up a couple top 10s, but those are like when I take a top 10, I want like 7, 8, 9, 10-1. You never get that with him. I don't take top 5. So yeah, he's a no for me.
Well, then let's talk about the long shots. Who do we got? John, tell us now before we ask you to make a declaration of who you're going to, tell everybody on Twitter, like this guy's going to win or you can suck my balls. Now, who's the long shot though? Because this isn't the like S my D play. This is just the fun long shot play. It's not going to happen, is it?
I wouldn't rule it out, to be honest, because Answer and Varner finished 2-3 at Liberty National in 2019 at the Northern Trust. And that is, Varner might be playing the same golf now. I think he was a little worse in 2019 than he is now. Answer was bad in 2019. He was not this Abraham Answer. So I'm not going to rule out guys in the longer range. I think you got to just gain strokes in those 4 categories. So you need to look at guys who have that sort of upside. I'm not going crazy on bombs this week. I'm not going back to Kevin Kisner, although he does have good history here. And obviously he's plenty motivated now. He's trying to ride this Ryder Cup wave now, which I think.
What about Henley? Your guys. You guys were also on Henley.
Yeah,
Henley might be 0% owned in DraftKings.
Everyone hates it.
Everybody on planet Earth was on him, and he let everybody down.
Yeah.
The thing is we all kind of knew that was like the likely scenario that was going to happen the whole way with Henley, and it was just like the longer it went on, it just teased and teased. So we had that tease, and then it was like the 6-man playoff that he somehow like just misses it. Like it was a fun event. It really was. The Wyndham, that was a great playoff. Like I thought that was a ton of fun. 6 guys. We like just as we knew Henley probably wasn't going to make it. We all knew Adam Scott wasn't making that putt, right? It was like every like 30 seconds that passed by where he was waiting, like his odds of making that putt were just dropping and dropping. Like it was.
They showed the video of him, and you can just see in his eyes, like, oh shit.
He's like rechecking the greens book, and like he was trying to be cool, Adam Scott, like very suave and like handsome looking, but like at the same time, you just knew he wasn't making that putt.
Dude, he would be better off from like 14 feet than that putt.
Yeah. For sure.
What makes it even better is Siwoo had the exact same putt and it didn't move at all. It's just a straight.
You know what I noticed? Like Scott didn't watch it at all.
No.
Did you notice that? He was like way off to
on the other side of the
green. Dude, like you got to be getting a peek there. Like,
it didn't move. It was dead center.
It was funny how all 5 guys were just like lined up to the side when they showed the side angle of Scott coming in. You see all guys with like hands on the hips, like hats halfway off, ready to like shake hands, and then he just fucking pulls the shit out of Wood. Good stuff.
Hey, let me ask you guys. Jason Kokrak at 75-1. Now, hear me out. He wins events now. He's not afraid of anybody else on tour anymore. He actually can putt he bombs the shit out of it. 75-1. Is this the long shot we could try out?
If you want the closest thing to my Kisner prediction last week was that he was my spotlight player in my preview article. And that's Jason Kokrak this week. So it's not nearly the same amount of conviction, and it's a longer number. But I will be betting Jason Kokrak this week. He's got his first 2 career tour wins this season, both coming this season. They both came on bent grass, which I think is notable. Sorry, my cat just crawled on my lap.
Cat sighting.
Okay, let's get the cat out here.
Nice.
Okay. First 2 tour wins this season, both on bent grass. Shadow Creek, I think, is a very good comp to this course. It's kind of manicured the same way. It has the same sort of water in play. Bent grass greens. And then Colonial, which is not exact. That's more tree line than what we're going to see here. But he won it with the putter. He was electric on Sunday, and he stole that away from my Spieth outright. So I hold a little bit of a grudge against Kokrak for that. But actually, that was another event where Henley collapsed.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe that's a good omen. I don't know. He's the number 1 bent grass putter. And last week, Kisner was the number 1 Donald Ross putter. And he won. So maybe there's some synergy there. I think the length is going to help. There's a 600-yard par 5 here that I think he's actually going to be able to get to and 2. A lot of the field won't be able to. There's a lot of long par 3s, so distance can help in some ways. And another guy that can gain in all 4 categories. So I think that's a bad number that they put out, or a good number for us. I think it's a misprice. Plenty of upside for Kokrak. And also another guy, if he wins, he finds a way to win. He's on the Ryder Cup team. So I think he's thinking about that a little bit as well.
He'd be the only guy this season with 3 victories as well. So that's actually like borderline player of the year category. Like if he wins this event, I'm on Kokrak with you. I took him at 80-1. I really like the bent grass putting angle. I think that's very important this week. But just a total flyer for me, and you've got him highlighted right there, Chad. I'm in.
I was wondering, are we talking about how
for the first time since he's back? I'm putting my chips in on him.
Wow.
The best part is it doesn't have to be many chips. He's 150-1.
$1, bro.
Screw it, man. Let's go. I'm back.
I'm a $1 better. All right. What else do we need to talk about? Do we need to talk about anything else? I mean, we've been here 42 minutes. This has been great. John, the PJ tout on Twitter, has a successful history of picking winners. I mean, he's been doing this only 8 months. It feels like 10 years. This dude's just like been around. If you would have told me, 4 years ago we started this website, I would have believed you. But anyway, who's the conviction play of the week? Is it Kokrak, or are we going with more like logical things?
I think the what's special about the conviction play of the week is that it isn't every week.
Okay.
And I'm not going to give you a conviction play every week because that would a lot of things need to align, and it's you're forcing it at a certain point. So
you know what I say to that? I say, you pussy.
Who's the preferred play? That's
you think I had a house lean last week? I was putting Snedeker. I didn't know what I was doing. I should have just gone with Kisner, you guys. Shit.
I try to tell you, not only did John have the conviction play, but I sat here last Monday and told you Kiz was going to do it as well. So you had 2 very good resources, try to push you in the right direction. You were too busy worried about your rollover saga and the new carpet.
The champ fake lucky prediction. It went to my head like I know what I'm doing.
Now that's in our heads. Now we can't go wrong. It feels
we're having fun.
Feels like a 3-point shooter, and we're pulling up from half court now because we can't miss any. We're calling our shot, and it just feels like it's going to go in now. That's how golf betting works. I went on a 3-month outright drought where I didn't hit anything.
That's
and
it,
then,
dude.
This happens, and people get worked up on Twitter. I haven't hit anything in a while.
How are your mentions? Did they blow up? Did your mentions on Twitter just light up like a Christmas tree, like mine did when the house bet won?
Yeah, I imagine it's exactly what you went through for the Camp Champ house. Yeah, I would still argue the Camp Champ house is a lot more impressive because you really went out on a limb there. But it's been a busy day for my mentions for sure.
Cool.
But it's all good. Okay, I haven't answered. I haven't answered your question. If you put a gun to my head, I think it's Spieth week. I can't play him in one and done. I am really struggling to pick somebody in one and done because I have picked the top like 10 or 12 favorites, but I'm in a 25th in the Mayo Cup right now, and this is a crucial. But I hit on Kisner, Justin Thomas, John Rahm, and Colin. I think I have 4 winners in one and done. So
damn.
Everything else has been like missed cuts, but that's carried me through. So it's a crucial week for me, and I have like nobody left to pick. I'm like deciding between like Reed and Scheffler and Hovland. I think it's going to be one of those 3. Anyway, Spieth is my guy. I just love Spieth on bent grass. The approach game has been so good. Around the green game is really important here. It's not a full links course, but it's linksy. I think it fits his eye well. I believe he had a good finish here in 2019. And he's just trending that way. He's had a lot of almost wins. He almost won the Open. He almost won Colonial. Won Valero, obviously. So this just, like you said with Brooks, I think Spieth will look back at this season and say, I should have won more than once. And now he has a chance to correct that.
Okay. All right, we got to wrap it up here. We got Charlie R saying hi. I missed you guys. Kisner for life. How about Kisner? Are you guys gonna love Kisner for life because of your little house?
You gotta love Kisner like anyways, man. Like the dude doesn't give a fuck, like plays fast, fat dip in the mouth, like, and he's just like speaks his mind and just goes out there. So when Kisner went to the Open with a 1776 USA hat on, that was like the moment where I'm like, I'm team kids for life right now. That was
how about Colt Knost dropping the Kisner says, how can I never win one of these after Scott hit it super close? So Kisner says to Colt Knost, like, I'm never going to win.
I didn't hear that.
Oh, yeah. So I hear Colt Knost talk about how Kisner's talking about, like, I'll never win a playoff. And then he went on to win the playoffs. So that was kind of fun that, like, he can even in the moment talk to Colt Knost walking down the fairway. PGA Tout, the man of the hour. He's a legend. What up? We are so thankful for having this PGA Tout with us tonight. If you want to find PGA Tout, you can go to his website. It's pgatout.com. It's kind of easy to remember, and you can follow him on Twitter at the same address, PGATOUT. Thank you for being here. We did this. This is the Northern Trust. We got a couple more weeks left until we're off till Tournament of Champions. Let's go. We may do some stuff in the off season, but either way, that's it. Like and subscribe, rate and review, sign up for Jock Market, watch Joe on Wednesday. Go to PGATourTout.com, whatever it's called, and let's play another round of Winner's Circle this week. All right, let's do it with Jordan Spieth, with Brooks Koepka, Paul Casey. Who the hell? We don't know. It'll be great. Let's do it.
Thanks, gang. I'll talk to you guys later.